The story that has gripped millions of people around the world begins in Los Angeles, California. It is a story filled with confusion, sadness, and unanswered questions. It all started when a badly decomposed body of a young teenage girl was discovered inside a Tesla. That Tesla, as investigators later confirmed, belonged to viral artist D4vd, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. He's a 20-year-old musician who became famous for his haunting, emotional songs that millions of people around the world connected to. But today, his name is connected to something dark, something disturbing, and something that has left many wondering what really happened behind closed doors. 2 months after the discovery of that body, the case still doesn't have clear answers. Investigators have been careful and tight-lipped, not revealing much publicly. However, a private investigator has now come forward, revealing shocking new details about what was found inside the home where D4vd had been staying, including pill bottles and an opioid prescription that could change how people understand this case. The Tesla was towed from a street near Hollywood Hills, one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Workers at a tow yard had noticed a foul smell coming from the trunk of the car. At first, they didn't think much of it, maybe a dead animal or spoiled food left behind. But the smell kept getting worse. Finally, they decided to open the trunk, and what they found was beyond anyone's imagination. Inside a bag, they discovered human remains, a severely decomposed body that would later be identified as 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The discovery immediately shocked the public. How did a 14-year-old girl end up dead inside a Tesla belonging to a 20-year-old musician? And why was the car left abandoned on the street? The more people learned about it, the more confusing everything became. Authorities took the car into custody and began searching for answers. They confirmed that the Tesla was registered to David Anthony Burke, the same young artist who was set to go on an international tour just days before the horrific discovery. After the news broke, David canceled his tour and disappeared from public view. He didn't post online. He didn't make a statement. He vanished. While police worked on their side of the investigation, the owner of the luxury home that David had been renting wanted to know what happened inside his property. He hired a private investigator named Steve Fisher, a man known for working on missing person cases. And what he found has added even more mystery to the story. When Fisher entered the Hollywood Hills home, he discovered that, even though movers had come to clear out the property after police executed a search warrant, a lot of things were still left behind. There were personal items, electronics, and everyday belongings, but what stood out most were several pill bottles and prescriptions, including ones related to opioids. Fisher clarified that he couldn't confirm who those prescriptions were for. They might have been legitimate, but their presence raised questions, especially considering the circumstances. According to reports, the Los Angeles Police Department searched the home thoroughly. They took computers, electronics, and even checked the drains for traces of blood or tissue. Clearly, they were looking for any clue that might explain how Celeste ended up dead. The medical examiner later confirmed that Celeste's body was severely decomposed and that she had likely been in the Tesla for an extended period before being discovered. However, her official cause of death was marked as deferred, meaning that toxicology and further analysis were still pending. Investigators said that for now, they could not determine whether the case involved a homicide or something else. They even mentioned that it could have been an accidental death, or possibly something far more tragic, like an overdose or suicide. But no one could ignore the obvious question: what was a 14-year-old doing with a 20-year-old musician? Celeste was from Lake Elsinore, California, a quiet city about 2 hours outside Los Angeles. She had a history of running away from home, and her family had filed multiple missing person reports over the years. The last report came when she was only 13. Her family said she had a boyfriend they had never met, and that boyfriend's name was David. Social media users quickly began connecting dots. Old Twitch streams and social posts showed Celeste spending time with D4vd. Some of his fans had seen her before but assumed she was older, around 19. The age difference shocked many. As the news spread, theories began to explode online. Reddit, TikTok, and other platforms were full of people trying to piece the puzzle together. Some claimed to have screenshots from Discord servers connected to D4vd's fan community. Others claimed to have messages and photos linking him to Celeste. But as with most high-profile cases, the flood of information quickly turned into chaos, a mix of facts, rumors, and outright lies. Private investigator Steve Fisher spoke publicly about the case. He revealed that after looking into it, he became frustrated with how information about Celeste's disappearances was handled. He learned that even after Celeste had been reported missing, she was seen at family gatherings, like a cousin's graduation, and even near her home. According to Fisher, when a missing person is seen by family or friends, they have a legal duty to inform law enforcement. But that didn't happen in this case. That lack of communication might have made it even harder for authorities to keep track of Celeste's movements in the months before her death. Fisher said he believed there were many missed opportunities to protect her, and that somewhere along the way, she slipped through the cracks. When Fisher was asked whether he thought Celeste's family knew she was spending time with D4d, he said it was likely. After all, her mother had already told another outlet that she knew her daughter's boyfriend was named David. Other small clues also tied Celeste to the singer. She had a tattoo on her right index finger that said S.H. David had a similar tattoo in the same spot. These matching tattoos only deepened public suspicion about how close they really were. Meanwhile, law enforcement has said very little. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office confirmed that the case is still under investigation and that no one has been charged. They said that once the LAPD finishes its investigation, the case will be reviewed to decide whether charges should be filed. But despite the silence, people can't stop talking. Online discussions about the case have taken over entire communities. Some users claim to have evidence from Discord servers showing conversations and interactions between David and a close group of friends who spent time at the Hollywood Hills house. Fisher confirmed that he and his team have seen plenty of private messages, photos, and videos from those servers. He said it's clear there was a small, tight-knit group around David, people who visited the house frequently and knew what was going on. What's most shocking, Fisher said, is that someone in that group likely knew what happened. There were signs. The Tesla wasn't being used anymore. Certain people suddenly stopped showing up, and David's entire behavior changed. According to Fisher, there's a good chance that at least one or two people in that circle had some idea that something terrible had happened. He also mentioned that he has video evidence of the Tesla being moved, but out of respect for the ongoing investigation, he refused to reveal who moved it. He did, however, say that he believes with about 95% certainty that Celeste's body was already inside the car when it was moved. After the LAPD executed their search warrant, David's management sent movers to collect his belongings from the rental home. But according to Fisher, many things were left behind. Personal items, paperwork, even electronics. Some of those items have been turned over to authorities, but not everything has been made public. Neighbors in the area also came forward, saying they had seen cars coming and going at odd hours. The neighborhood's private security company confirmed that there was one written report about a noise complaint, but nothing else that stood out. Still, the image of a young girl being found in such horrific conditions has haunted everyone who's followed the story. Many can't understand how someone could abandon a car like that, leaving it on the street for days while knowing what was inside. Fisher said that when the LAPD released their first official statement, he noticed something important. The statement mentioned that there may be no criminal culpability beyond the concealment of a body. That line, he believes, could mean that police are preparing the public for the possibility that this wasn't a murder, that maybe Celeste died accidentally or by overdose, and whoever was involved made a terrible decision to hide her body. If that's true, it wouldn't make the situation any less tragic, but it would paint a different picture of what happened. Fisher also pointed out that if an overdose was involved, and if police can prove who supplied the drugs, then that person could still face serious charges. As of now, D4D has not spoken publicly. His lawyer, Blair Burke, a well-known defense attorney who has represented celebrities like Britney Spears, Bruno Mars, and Lindsay Lohan, is handling all communication. The fact that he hired someone so high profile shows that he's preparing for a long and complicated legal situation. Since the discovery, none of his close friends or collaborators have said anything publicly either. These are people who live online, artists, gamers, and streamers who share every part of their lives. But in this case, complete silence. That silence, to many, speaks volumes. Some people believe they've been told to keep quiet. Others think they might have been advised by lawyers not to speak. Whatever the reason, the lack of any public statement has only made people more suspicious. Meanwhile, the online community has shifted. When the case first went viral, Reddit and Discord users were doing deep research, finding photos, timestamps, and links between Celeste and David. For a while, their work actually helped investigators and journalists understand more about the relationship. But as time went on, the conversation turned toxic. Now, much of the online discussion is filled with wild rumors and false claims. People are accusing random users, misidentifying individuals, and spreading unverified information. Fisher said that while the internet can be powerful in uncovering hidden truths, it can also quickly turn into chaos, and that's what's happening now. He also mentioned that LAPD might be struggling with the amount of digital evidence in this case. Much of the communication between David and others reportedly took place on Discord, a platform where people use fake names, private servers, and encrypted messages. Even with access to the data, identifying who's who can take months. Every username, every chat log, and every timestamp has to be connected to a real person. Still, the hope remains that toxicology reports, which can take weeks or even months to complete, will finally reveal how Celeste died. Those results will be key. They could show whether drugs were involved, and if so, what kind. They might also give investigators the timeline they need to figure out when she died and whether her death could have been prevented. For now, though, the questions remain endless. How did a 14-year-old girl end up living in Hollywood Hills with a famous artist? How did no one step in when she stopped showing up at school? Why was she missing for months, yet appearing at family gatherings without police being told? And most of all, what really happened in that house before that Tesla was left abandoned on the street? No matter what the toxicology results say, the case of Celeste Rivas Hernandez has already exposed a painful reality about how easily young people can fall through the cracks. It shows how fame, access, and the internet can create dangerous situations, and how sometimes adults fail to protect the most vulnerable. As investigators continue their work, fans of D4D are left conflicted. Some continue to support him, saying no one knows the full truth yet. Others say the silence, the canceled tour, and the lack of any statement all point toward guilt. The only thing everyone agrees on is that this tragedy has left a scar, one that won't fade anytime soon. In the end, this story isn't just about a famous musician or a shocking discovery. It's about a 14-year-old girl who lost her life far too soon, a family still waiting for answers, and a community trying to make sense of something that feels senseless. Until police release the toxicology results and finish their investigation, the world will keep watching, waiting for the truth to come out, no matter how dark or complicated it may be.